Hello everyone, Ace here, and today I've decided to do something a little bit different. About a month ago, I uploaded a video titled, "These Graphics Are So Realistic, 90s Kids." That video has since gone viral, and today I've decided to do something of a follow-up. Today, let's talk about the graphics of the game that I personally consider to be the most impressive, at least within the context of the year that it came out. Specifically, let's talk about the graphics of Jane's World War II Fighters. First released on November the 23rd of 1998 as part of the Jane's Combat Simulations franchise and published by Electronic Arts, Jane's World War II Fighters is exactly what you would expect it to be, a PC-exclusive flight simulator. Though there is some caveats to that, being that this game is set more specifically during the Battle of the Bulge, from mid-December of 1944 to early January of 1945, meaning the game exclusively covers very specific sectors of the Western Front during a very specific time of the war. Now, Jane's World War II Fighters did get a lot of praise when it first came out, but it did also end up underperforming, as it was having to face competition from both Microsoft Combat Flight Simulator and European Air War, both of which came out less than a month before Jane's World War II Fighters, and both of which have went on to become absolute classics as far as flight simulators are concerned. So Jane's World War II Fighters is itself very much an underappreciated gem. But let's now give that particular gem some attention by talking about one of its many strengths, the graphics. Something that you'll notice even before actually getting into the gameplay portion of the game itself, what with the main menu interface being a virtual museum that looks quite nice. Admittedly, there are some artifacts, what with me using DG Voodoo 2 to run the game in a modern resolution, and admittedly it's not that critical, but it does once again look nice and it is worth mentioning. But of course, the real show begins once we talk about the graphics of the actual gameplay itself. For a start, the texture work on the interiors of the cockpits is actually quite nice, and seeing the battle damage versions of some of these interior cockpits really does show just how surprisingly well the game has aged. But the real star of the show easily has to be the effects. The way that smoke and fire trails from aircraft that are badly damaged, or rise up from destroyed tanks, looks so fantastically nice. And when combined with things such as the sheer number of particles that you can see, such as tracers flying through the air, well, that really sells the setting, and makes the game look much younger than it actually is. There's also the fact that the draw distance is about 10 miles, though admittedly with pop-in for smaller objects. But the sheer fact that it is that far away, and the game still looks this nice, is still a visual triumph. And speaking of objects, they not only include the usual assortment of aircraft and tanks and buildings, etc., but they do even in fact include 3D models for individual infantrymen. Admittedly, the animation work is not exactly impressive, at least for the infantry, but the sheer fact that they were using 3D models instead of 2D sprites for the infantry in a flight simulator is truly impressive. But then the game takes it even one step further, because not content to have individual infantrymen being depicted in your flight simulator, Jane's World War II Fighters also chose to depict wildlife roaming around the battlefield as well, such as, for example, seeing deer frolicking through the woods if you decide to fly at a low enough altitude. Now, admittedly, these deer were depicted as 2D sprites in the game, but again, the sheer fact that they had them was impressive. Now, yes, our eyes these days have been spoiled by much nicer looking games overall, but given the context that this is a game that came out all the way back in 1998, a year that was already seeing massive strides in terms of visual improvements of gaming overall. The fact that this game still stands out in comparison to other notable titles from the era does make it very special in that regard. And even ignoring that, it is still a game worth having a look at, since it is an excellent little forgotten gem of a game to find and play. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.